what is a must-have characteristic of a high-performing team?
I would say clear communication is probably key in my opinion. And that can just mean a whole host of different things, I think, right? Like clarity is kindness. And I think a lot of times we want to avoid things. We want to, and maybe it's just as we grow as leaders, we realize how much lack of communication can cause so many problems in the business. And so being clear to the customer, being clear to the agents, being clear to our staff people, being clear to our vendor partners, being clear to everybody on just everything. It is what I love about numbers and financials and tracking data points, because the numbers they're the most pure form of communication possible, right? They do not lie. They do not have emotions. You can't hide behind them. And so, but I think communication is just so important.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I'll just add one thing to your list there. The idea that sometimes the team leader in a rush, and constant rush perhaps, isn't even clear with themselves. So it's difficult to communicate clearly when you don't yourself have a clear picture of what's going on. I think, we think that maybe sometimes it's between me and the recipient in the way that I'm communicating something, but I would add that it starts with yourself. If you're not clear on what you want to communicate, why or how, you're setting yourself up for a lot of communication failure and urgency. And I think, this also starts to bleed in a little bit to like the emotional regulation conversation at some level, to the degree that that's part of it as well. Does that trigger anything for you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. And I'm glad you said it, because I do agree with that. It seems like that's like the core of all communication, is the team leaders that I find and work with. And looking back on my business as I built a team and made a lot of mistakes, it was back when I was unsure of myself, unsure of where I was mentally, unsure of how I felt about something or the direction I was going or the vision I had. And then, it's so hard to communicate when we're not, as you mentioned, already clear up there, for sure.